Hi, I'm Akina.
Hi, I'm Dustin, and we're here with the Japan Questions Answered channel. Today we have a question which is, why do Japanese people use chopsticks?
Because we have chopsticks.
A related question which is, do Japanese people use forks, spoons, and knives? So I think this question might seem kind of an obvious one to most people. But I think when I was younger, when I was living in America, I thought there was kind of this widespread sort of belief or just misinformation about chopsticks. It seems to me like people think chopsticks are kind of primitive because it's like a stick.
Primitive?
Well, when you think about it, a lot of times they're literally sticks, like pieces of wood.
It's actually really good tool to eat.
I think that way for sure now that I use them pretty much every day. But I can see in a way, like if you don't use chopsticks, you might think like, why on earth would someone use why would someone use chopsticks instead of a fork when, we've already entered the Iron Age where we're able to make, tools from steel.
Iron Age.
We're able to craft this high-tech device called a fork. Where you can, that's how I think people think. I don't know because I've lived in Asia for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. So I think that's how people think a lot of times, especially if they don't use chopsticks. People generally in America, some people learn how to use chopsticks and they have them at home. Mm-hmm. But a lot of times the only chance they get to use them is in like a Chinese restaurant or something. Like
sushi restaurant?
Yeah, a sushi restaurant. Like, okay,
Japanese restaurant?
How do I use the chopstick? I put this one here, then I try to do this, and Anyway, why do Japanese people use chopsticks?
Because it's a perfect tool to eat.
Chopsticks are simple, but they actually work really well, and I think there's certain foods they obviously work better for, like sushi. You wouldn't want to eat sushi with a knife, with a fork, with a spoon.
Well, you could eat with fingers.
You can eat with your hands, but I don't want to have my hands smelling like a dead fish. So I think chopsticks are just objectively the best tool you can use for sushi. But what about for Western foods? Are there any Western foods you can think of that chopsticks are actually better than forks for?
Salad.
Salad.
Didn't you have like a really frustrating experience that you were trying to eat salad, and there are some little pieces left on the dish?
Exactly.
And you can't really.
You got that last piece of. Exactly. All right. The final piece of spinach, and you're like, I don't need that last piece, But then you're like, all right, whatever, I want to get that extra vitamin into my diet. Then you go for that fork, you're trying to puncture it, it's just not working.
Well, you can just pick it up with chopsticks.
Easily, yeah. Once you get your skill level up, you can grab a single grain of rice in the blink of an eye, okay?
And you shouldn't forget this. You want to eat ramen with chopsticks.
Yeah, why do people use forks for that?
Well, I heard if you can't use chopsticks, that you might use fork.
Basically, yeah. The thing is, I think chopsticks are definitely better for a lot of foods, but are they used in the best way sometimes? You mentioned cake. Do people use chopsticks for cake?
Yes, some people do.
Some people do that. I think that actually came up at one work outing I had where they were serving cake and they just happened to have chopsticks around and people just happened to eat the cake with the chopstick. Not like they were gonna do it that way, but it was just the most easy thing to do.
It's actually easy though, if you are eating with fork, then you have to cut it and you have to kind of be careful to scoop it without dropping it.
Uh-huh.
But chopsticks, it's just you can cut it and then just pick it up.
Okay. Just one cut and then the pick up. Slightly more efficient.
Yeah. Or more you can always cut it and scoop it as well.
But people might still be thinking, well, what about forks, knives, and spoons? Did the Japanese come into contact with these high-tech devices yet?
We do use these utensils too.
Yeah, it depends on the type of food. Like Japanese curry is always served with spoon, you know? So different foods come with different utensils. They do use forks, knives, and spoons. They're always impressed when I use chopsticks. The Japanese people say, "Oh, you can use the chopsticks very well." And I'm like, "You can use a fork well."
Well, it works out easier though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but some places would serve like if you go to Italian restaurants, then they will give you a knife and fork, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
They for Japanese foods, they sometimes give Western utensils as well.
But some spaghetti places would give you chopsticks.
Okay.
I guess it's just to be different.
Interesting.
Yeah, and kids would start using utensils from fork first.
Oh, they start them on the fork. I thought they were starting with the chopsticks first.
Fork or spoons first, and they
Interesting.
move to chopsticks. Anyway, basically chopsticks needs more training, right? Anyway.
Chopsticks require more training. I guess the fork is so easy, even a caveman can do it.
Yeah, but if you get to know how to use chopstick, is really useful, especially for like tiny things or like kind of something really separated.
Yeah, when your skill level gets up, then you can, like I said, pick up individual pieces of rice or beans or whatever little things.
Like tiny things, especially, and especially combination of like knife and fork. So if you have these two sticks, then you can eat mostly anything.
Right. So basically that's the answer to the question, why do they use them? Because they're actually a very good utensil. And you should try to learn how to use them well if you haven't already. So anyway, thanks a lot for that question. Please leave your own question down below. We'll try our best to answer it, and we might even do a video about it. Or you can check out our previous episode over here, or check out our most recent episode over there. And as always, thanks for watching this video, everybody. Why don't you leave a comment?
Let us know what you think. Thank you.